I laughed. Actually laughed. Like it was a joke I just didn't get yet. My husband was standing in the kitchen, arms crossed, staring at the floor instead of me. "I don't think I want kids," he said. I chuckled and reached for the fridge. "You're just stressed. You said that before we got married too, remember?" He didn't laugh back. That's when I should have stopped smiling. "I'm serious," he said. I turned around. "Okay, we don't have to decide anything right now." He swallowed. "No, you don't understand." Something in his voice made my stomach tighten. "I don't want kids," he repeated, slower this time. "At all." I laughed again, softer, confused. "Mark, I already have a kid." Silence. Heavy. Unnatural. My smile faded. Our daughter Lily was upstairs doing homework. 9 years old. Blonde curls. The kind of kid who still believed bedtime stories mattered. He finally looked up at me and said the sentence that cracked my life in half. "I didn't mean future kids," he said quietly. I stared at him. "What?" I meant yours. The room tilted. "What do you mean mine?" I whispered. He ran a hand through his hair like he was annoyed, like I was making this harder than it needed to be. "I thought I could get used to it," he said. "I thought if I loved you enough, it would feel different." I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Used to what?" "To being a stepdad," he replied. "To raising someone else's child." Someone else's. Like Lily wasn't a person, like she was an inconvenience. "You've been in her life for 4 years," I said. "She calls you dad." He flinched. "That was a mistake." My heart slammed so hard I thought I might pass out. "A mistake?" I repeated. He nodded. "I shouldn't have let that happen." Upstairs, I heard Lily laugh at something on her tablet. The sound sliced straight through me. "She loves you," I said. "She thinks you chose her." He looked away. "I chose you." That's when it hit me. Cold, clear, terrifying. He never chose her. He tolerated her. "I don't want to raise another man's child," he continued, like he was listing reasons to return a defective product. "And I don't want her getting more attached." My hand started shaking. "You're her father," I said. "In every way that matters." He shook his head. "No, I'm not." I felt something inside me snap. "Then what are you saying?" I asked. He exhaled slowly. "I think it would be better if she went to live with her real dad." My ears rang. Her real dad, the man who disappeared before she could walk. "You know he's not in her life?" I said. "That's not my fault," Mark replied, "and it shouldn't be my responsibility." I took a step back from him, like he was someone I'd never met before. "You married me knowing I had a child," I said. "Yes," he said, "and I thought you'd eventually choose." The words didn't make sense at first. "Choose what?" I asked. He looked me straight in the eyes. "Between me and her." Upstairs, Lily called out, "Mom, can you help me with this?" My entire body went cold, because in that moment I realized something horrifying. This wasn't a conversation, it was an ultimatum. And no matter what I chose, someone I loved was about to lose everything. "I'll be right there, sweetheart," I called up the stairs. My voice didn't shake. I don't know how. Mark watched me like he was waiting for my answer to change. I walked upstairs on autopilot, every step heavier than the last. Lily was sitting on her bed with her math book open, pencil between her teeth. "Which one's confusing you?" I asked, forcing a smile. She pointed. "This one. Dad showed me a trick, but I forgot." Dad. The word felt like a knife. I helped her solve the problem, kissed the top of her head, told her to get ready for bed. She hugged me tight, the way she always did. "You and Dad are being weird," she whispered. "Are you mad at each other?" "No, baby," I said too quickly. "Just grown-up stuff." She nodded, trusting me in a way that almost broke me. When I went back downstairs, Mark was sitting at the table scrolling on his phone like we'd just paused an argument about groceries. "We can't talk about this in front of her," I said. "I know," he replied. "That's why I brought it up now." Now, after 4 years, after bedtime stories and school pickups and Father's Day cards she'd made with glitter. "You've been thinking about this for a while," I said. He didn't deny it. "How long?" I asked. He hesitated. "Since she started calling me Dad." My chest tightened. "That was 2 years ago." He nodded. "That's when it got real." "So, every time she hugged you," I said slowly, "every time she said she loved you, you were what? Counting down. Until you could say this?" "That's not fair," he said defensively. "No," I snapped. "What's not fair is letting a child believe she was wanted." He slammed his phone down. "I didn't sign up for this. You married a mother. I said. That was the sign-up. He leaned back, rubbing his face. I thought you'd understand eventually. Understand what? I demanded. That you see my daughter as baggage? He winced. I wouldn't use that word. But you think it, I said. And now you want her gone so you can have the life you actually wanted. She has a father, he said. Even if he's not around, she's not my responsibility. That's when something in me went very still. You're right, I said quietly. He looked up surprised. I am? Yes, I said. She's not your responsibility. Relief flashed across his face, for about half a second. Because she's mine, I continued, and I will never choose you over her. His relief vanished. So that's it? You made it that way, I replied. He stood up abruptly. You're being emotional. We can talk about this calmly. Don't, I said. Don't call this calm. You waited until she loved you, then told me she was a mistake. He opened his mouth to argue, and that's when I heard it. A soft sound from the stairs. I turned. Lily was standing there in her pajamas, one hand gripping the railing. Her eyes were wide and wet. Mom? She whispered. My heart stopped. How long have you been standing there? I asked. She didn't answer. She just looked at Mark. You don't want me anymore? She asked him. Mark froze. The silence stretched, thick and cruel. And in that silence, my daughter got her answer. Mark didn't move, didn't kneel, didn't soften his voice, didn't even pretend. He just stood there, staring at my daughter like he was calculating how to get out of a bad situation with the least damage to himself. Lily, I said quickly, stepping in front of her. Go back to your room. She didn't. She took one small step down the stairs. Did I do something wrong? She asked. Her voice cracked on the last word. I can be better. Something inside me broke so violently I felt dizzy. No, I said, turning to her, dropping to my knees. No, no, no. You didn't do anything wrong. She looked around me at Mark. You said you loved me. Mark finally spoke. I do, he said, stiff. Just not in the way you think. That was it. That was the sentence that crossed a line you can't come back from. I stood up so fast the chair behind me fell over. Stop, I said. You don't get to explain this to her. She deserves honesty, he replied. No, I said, my voice shaking with rage. She deserves kindness, something you clearly ran out of. Lily's face crumpled. Silent tears slid down her cheeks. I'll go to my room, she whispered. She turned and walked upstairs slowly, shoulders hunched, like she was already trying to take up less space in her own home. I watched her disappear, then turned back to Mark. Pack a bag, I said. He blinked. What? You heard me. Let's not do this tonight, he said. She's emotional. You're emotional. I laughed. It came out sharp and ugly. You just told a child she was a mistake and you think this is emotional? He ran a hand through his hair. I didn't say that. You didn't have to, I said. She heard it anyway. I walked past him and opened the closet, grabbed a duffel bag and threw it on the bed. You're leaving, I said. Now. He stared at me like he couldn't believe this was happening. You're choosing her. Yes, I said without hesitation. Every time. In every lifetime. He scoffed. So you're throwing away our marriage. I stopped and looked at him. You threw it away the moment you made my child feel unwanted. He went quiet. Then, quietly. You're overreacting. I walked up to him until we were inches apart. If you ever, I said slowly, make her feel like she doesn't belong again, I will make sure you never forget what that cost you. His jaw tightened. He packed in silence. As he walked out the door, he paused. You're making a mistake, he said. I looked him straight in the eye. No, I said. I corrected one. The door closed. The house was suddenly too quiet. I went upstairs and found Lily curled into a ball on her bed, hugging her stuffed rabbit like she was 5 again. I sat beside her and pulled her into my arms. I'm sorry you heard that, I whispered. She sniffed. Was he telling the truth? I took a breath. The honest one. He was telling his truth, I said. And his truth is broken. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she whispered, So, we're okay? I kissed her hair. We are more than okay, I said. We're safe. But even as I said it, I knew. This wasn't over. Because the man I'd just kicked out was not the kind of man who accepted losing quietly. And the next thing he did proved exactly who he really was. The first thing Mark did after he left wasn't apologize. It wasn't reflect. It wasn't even check on Lily. He called a lawyer. I found out the next afternoon when I got an email titled Temporary Custody Concerns. I stared at the screen like it had to be a mistake. Mark didn't have biological children. He had never adopted Lily. Legally, he had no parental claim. So why was a lawyer involved? I called the number immediately. The woman on the other end spoke in a calm, professional voice. My client is concerned about the emotional stability of the household, she said. He believes the child may be experiencing psychological distress due to your reactions. My hands started shaking. My reactions? I repeated. Yes, she continued. He mentioned heightened emotional episodes, impulsive decisions, and exposing a minor to adult conflict. I felt sick. He wasn't just leaving. He was rewriting the story. He told Lily he didn't want her, I said. She overheard him. There was a pause. That's not how he described it, the lawyer replied. Of course it wasn't. That night, Lily didn't want to sleep alone. She crawled into my bed and whispered, "Did I make him leave?" I held her so tightly my arms ached. "No," I said. "He left because he couldn't love properly." She nodded, but I could tell the seed of doubt had already been planted. That was the part that enraged me most. Not losing my husband, but watching my daughter quietly start to blame herself. 2 days later, Mark showed up unannounced. Not at night, not drunk, middle of the afternoon. Calm, polite, controlled. "I just want to talk," he said from the porch. "You should have thought of that before you traumatized a child," I replied through the door. "I want closure," he said. "For Lily." I laughed bitterly. "You don't get to say her name like that." He sighed. "You're turning this into something it doesn't have to be." "That's your specialty," I said. He lowered his voice. "You should be careful. Courts don't like instability." I felt ice flood my veins. "You're threatening me," I said. "I'm warning you," he corrected. "If you make this ugly, it won't go the way you think." That's when I realized something terrifying. He didn't regret what he said. He regretted that he said it out loud. After he left, I called my sister, then my lawyer, then Lily's school counselor. I documented everything: texts, emails, dates, words. Because if Mark wanted to turn my daughter into leverage, I was done being polite. And the very next thing he did made it clear he wasn't finished trying to hurt us. 3 days later, Lily's school called me into the office. I knew something was wrong the moment I saw the counselor's face. Careful, sympathetic, rehearsed. "She's been asking some heavy questions," the counselor said gently, "about where she belongs, about whether adults leave because of kids." My chest tightened. "And," she added, choosing her words, "someone contacted the school asking about Lily's emotional environment at home." I didn't need to ask who. "It was Mark," I said flatly. The counselor nodded. "He said he was concerned," she said, "that Lily might be feeling rejected and confused." Rejected? By the man who rejected her. I felt a rage so clean and focused it scared me. "He told her he didn't want her," I said. "He said it in our living room." The counselor looked startled. "He didn't mention that?" Of course he didn't. That afternoon, I picked Lily up early and took her for ice cream. We sat on a bench outside, the sun, warm on our backs, her feet swinging. "Did someone talk to you at school today?" I asked softly. She nodded. "They asked if I was sad." "And what did you say?" She thought for a moment. I said I was confused. I swallowed. "About what?" "About why someone would pretend to love you," she said quietly, and then stop. I took her face in my hands so she had to look at me. "Listen to me," I said. "There is nothing about you that made this happen. Nothing. Some adults are broken in ways that have nothing to do with the children in their lives." She studied my face, searching for lies. Then she nodded. That night, after Lily fell asleep, I sat at the kitchen table and wrote an email. Not angry, not emotional, precise. I attached the lawyer's email, the school counselor's notes, my written account of exactly what Mark said, word for word. I sent it to Mark's lawyer. Then I sent one more message. To Mark. "Do not contact my child again. Any further. Attempts to interfere will go through my attorney." He replied within minutes. "You're overreacting. I was just trying to do the right thing." I didn't answer, because I finally understood something I should have seen earlier. When he said he didn't want kids, he wasn't confused. He wasn't scared. He was being honest, just not brave enough to be honest sooner. 2 weeks later, the lawyer backed off. The school closed the inquiry. Mark stopped showing up. The house got quieter, safer. One night, Lily crawled into my lap on the couch and said, "Mom?" "Yes, baby." "I think I'm glad he left." I kissed her forehead, tears burning. "So am I," I said. I laughed when my husband said he didn't want kids. I didn't realize he meant mine, but now I do. And the truth is, anyone who makes a child feel unwanted doesn't deserve to stay.